Mr. Davies said, "No one seems quite clear whether your plan is to scrap universal credit, or to consult broadly on it, which is what was said this morning." What is the plan? Shadow Chancellor John McDonnell at the weekend called for universal credit rollout to be halted, but it seems the Labour policy may have changed. Mr. Dowd said last night, "We think there is going to have to be a root and branch review of universal credit. I'm not going to preempt the review. We set aside out a 10-point plan for what we think should happen in the meantime." The government's universal credit rollout for the benefit system has come under intense scrutiny after reports came out that its introduction has increased homelessness and use of food banks. The government, however, has promised a £1 billion cash injection for universal credit to address genuine concerns. The Chancellor of the Exchequer, Philip Hammond, said he was increasing work allowances and payment by £1,000 a year, benefiting 2.4 million families by around £630 a year. He said, "Switching to universal credit a long overdue and necessary reform." Peter Dowd on BBC Newsnight. Image, BBC. Peter Dowd MP appeared on the show with Chief Secretary to the Treasury Liz Truss. Image, BBC. "This is not just a welfare measure, it is a major structural reform to our economy that will help to drive employment for years ahead. I recognise genuine concerns. First, the implementation of this program. It is an enormous undertaking. I have already delivered £3.5 billion to help with the transition. Today I can go further with a package of additional measures worth £1 billion over 5 years to introduce additional protections." However, Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn said cuts were still hardwired into the system. Chancellor Philip Hammond announced the budget yesterday. Image, Getty. The said, "The reality is austerity is not over, and that chunks of the deficit has been moved to NHS and local authority budgets." Mr. Dowd said that Labour has set aside £48.6 billion of expenditure, which makes up a higher proportion against GDP than Mr. Hammond's proposals. However, Mr. Davies dismissed the proposals as not very radical. He said, "I'm asking you whether you're lacking ambition." Polly Toynbee in tomorrow's Guardian writes, "Your tax proposals in the last election were nothing like radical enough, because you did not propose to put a penny or two on the basic rate of tax. You want to change the shape of the state. Shouldn't you saying you want a bigger rise?"